Have you ever stopped to think about how your weather app just knows the forecast instantly? Or how your food delivery app can talk to a dozen different restaurants without a hitch? All these different apps and services are constantly talking to each other, and today we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible magic that makes it all happen.
I mean, really think about it. Your phone and the restaurant's kitchen computer, they're in two totally separate worlds. They don't speak the same language. So how in the world does your order for a pizza get from your screen all the way into their oven?
Well, here's the secret. There's a middleman. There's a digital waiter who takes your request, runs it to the kitchen, and then brings the response right back to you. This waiter is called an API, and it's probably one of the most important but totally invisible parts of our digital world.
So, to really wrap our heads around this, let's get formally introduced to our digital waiter and see exactly how this whole restaurant operation works.
Okay, so an API, that stands for Application Programming Interface, is really just a set of rules. It's a contract for how two different computer systems are going to talk. In our little restaurant story, you are the client. You're the customer at the table. The restaurant's kitchen, where all the food and ingredients are, that's the server. And the API? That's our waiter, the one who knows exactly how to take your order and communicate it perfectly to the kitchen.
So how do we actually place an order? Well, just like in a real restaurant, right? You can't just yell into the kitchen. You've got to place your order in a very specific way so the waiter can understand you.
And you know what? Pretty much every single request you make to an API boils down to these two simple parts. First, you've got to say what you want to do, what's your action. And second, you have to specify the thing you want to do it to.
And these actions map perfectly to the digital world. The language our waiter speaks is called HTTP. So if you just want to read some information, like looking at the menu, you use a GET request. If you want to create something brand new, like ordering the daily special, you use POST. To change an order you've already made, it's PUT or PATCH. And if you want to get rid of something, you guessed it, you use DELETE. Simple as that.
Now for the second part, identifying the item. If you know exactly which one you want, you use what's called a route parameter. It's like saying, hey, I'm talking about order number 123. It's super specific. But if you want to find a group of things that share a certain quality, you use a query parameter. That's like asking, can you show me all my orders that have already shipped? See the difference? One's an ID, the other is more like a filter.
Okay, so you've placed your order. You told the waiter what you want and which item you're talking about. But the conversation's not over yet, not by a long shot. Now we got to hear back from the kitchen.
Our digital waiter is a real pro. They're not going to leave you hanging. After they go to the kitchen with your request, they always come back with an update. And these updates come in the form of simple numbers called status codes. They tell you instantly if everything went well, if maybe you made a mistake, or if the kitchen itself ran into a problem.
And it's actually really easy to remember the big categories. Just think of a traffic light. Any code that starts with a 2, shown here in green, means success. Green means go, everything's great. Codes in the 400s, in orange, mean there was a client error. That means you made a mistake in your order. And codes in the 500s, in red, well, that's a server error. That means the kitchen messed up.
Let's translate a few of these, right? A 200 OK is basically the waiter saying, yep, got it, it's on its way. A 404 not found is the polite way of saying, sorry, we're all out of that. A 400 bad request means you kind of mumbled your order and the waiter is like, what? And a 500 internal server error, that's the one you never want to hear. Uh-oh, there's a problem in the kitchen.
All right, let's level up a little bit. What happens when your order is huge? I mean, what if you're not just asking for one little dish, but for a massive, multi-course feast of data? This is where things get really cool.
So you wouldn't want a waiter to bring 500 plates to your table all at once, right? It'd be total chaos. Instead, you get your meal in courses. In the digital world, this is called pagination. You tell the API, hey, just bring me the first page of results, maybe 10 items. Once you've looked through those, you say, okay, I'm ready for the next page. It's a super clean, manageable way to deal with tons of data.
And what if you don't want the entire menu? That's where filtering comes in. It's all about being more specific. You're basically telling the waiter, look, don't bring me the whole giant book. I'm only interested in the vegetarian options. It's way more efficient and gets you exactly what you need without all the extra noise.
So, as we've seen, this whole thing is just like a really well-run restaurant. And just like any great restaurant, there are rules. Best practices that make the difference between a super frustrating experience and one that's actually delightful.
A truly great API, just like a great waiter, is predictable. They have a clear menu, so you always know what you can order. They understand your basic requests, using those GET, POST, DELETE methods correctly. They always give you clear feedback with the right status codes. And they never dump the whole buffet on your table at once, right? They support pagination and filtering. It all comes down to being simple and efficient.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of a well-designed API is for it to be completely invisible. When you use an app and it just works, when the data shows up instantly and everything feels seamless, that's the sign of a fantastic API working hard in the background, like the perfect waiter you barely even knew was there.
So the next time you refresh your social media feed, or check the weather, or order a car, just take a second to think about that invisible waiter. Think about the request your phone just sent out, the status code it got back, and the whole conversation that happened in the blink of an eye. What other digital waiters are working for you right this very second?